Hello students. So in the previous lectures, we have completed two types of plans, objectives and strategies. Let us today focus on the third type of a plan, that is policies and procedures. Policy is a guide to thinking, action and structured decision making in organizations. A policy is that type of a plan which acts as a guide to our thinking or to our action. Let's see in detail what exactly we mean by policies. A policy is a general guide to thinking and action, not a specific course of action. It defines the area or limits within which decisions can be made to achieve organizational objectives. In simple words, a policy is that type of a plan which acts as a guide whenever a manager or whenever an employee needs to take any action. Policy doesn't involve in itself any specific course of action. Means policy doesn't state or doesn't give us any particular action. It is guiding us in our thinking process, or it is guiding us to take our actions. In simple words, if we have to understand this with the help of an example, let's say you have ordered a product online. The product is delivered to you on time as per the delivery schedule. But when you received the package is not in a proper condition. The package is already opened and now you want to return the product. As soon as you decide to return the product, the first thing that you will visit is you will check the website and check out the return policy. Now, what does exactly return policy means? It will tell a customer in which conditions you are eligible to return the product. Second, it will also mention whether a customer, if eligible to return, will receive an exchange of product, or the customer can receive the refund, or the customer can get the amount credited in the respective wallet of that particular online shopping application. So policy here explains us how we are going to conduct our action and how our thinking process can be guided. So policies basically should be flexible and broad. It has to be flexible. It should not be rigid. It should be able to accommodate the given situation and solve the given problem. So policy को flexible रखना चाहिए. Broader terms में हमें policies को लिखना है. It should not be rigid to any particular area or any particular single product or a single area. It has to be broader and it should cover majority of things. Second thing about policy is it is again goal oriented. Now policies are the routes to the realization of objectives. Means what? Policies basically help you to reach up to your final objectives. So policy are guiding you and telling the organization how they are going to achieve their final objectives. So it basically acts as a guide. Now a simple example is again mentioned here. In any organization, whenever the time comes to do the promotion of the existing employees, the question may arise that the promotion could be given either on the seniority basis or the promotion could be given on the merit basis. Now, this decision of promotion tells us about the policy that the company has when it comes to promotion, and it will be called as a promotion policy. In simple words, कुछ कंपनीज में प्रमोशन सीनियरिटी के बेसिस पे हो सकता है और कुछ कंपनीज में प्रमोशन मेरिट बेसिस पे भी हो सकता है. अब इसका डिसीजन होगा प्रमोशन पॉलिसी के ऊपर बेस्ड. नाउ व्हाई डज पॉलिसी मैटर्स? नाउ क्यों अच्छी पॉलिसीज होना जरूरी है किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में? तो उसका जवाब बहुत ही इजी है। जब भी आप किसी ऐसे सिचुएशन में हो, आप एक मैनेजर हो, ऐसे सिचुएशन में हो जहां आपको कोई डिसीजन लेना है और आपके सामने जो सिचुएशन है उसमें आपको नहीं पता चल पा रहा है कि आपको किस तरीके से डिसीजन लेना है, सो दैट इट इज not harmful to the company and it is not harmful to the other party, then policy is going to guide how the decision will be taken. So why policy matters? The first reason is it helps in quick decision. So as a manager, whenever the time comes where you have to take a decision, it could be regarding a customer complaint, it could be regarding an employee, it could be regarding promoting an employee, it could be regarding removing an employee, it could be any decision that is going to affect your business in future. In such a situation, policy, if it is framed well in advance, if it is framed in a clear manner, it is going to help the manager in taking the decisions quickly. Now policy also defines the limits. Policy are basically the guidelines. So whenever we talk about guidelines, it is like a limit that is given to you and you have to work within that given limit. So it is like a boundary line within which you have to perform. So policy creates that boundary line. It gives you the boundary line within which you have to take your decisions. Now policy also helps in delegation. If the policies are clearly mentioned, फिर वो परचेज पॉलिसी है, आपको अगर रॉ मटेरियल खत्म हो गया, आपको परचेज करना है वेंडर से, सप्लायर से, तो आपके परचेज मैनेजर को अगर पॉलिसी पता है कि बाइंग कैसे किया जाएगा रॉ मटेरियल का, देन इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू रिजल्ट इन एनी रॉन्ग डिसीजंस टेकन बाय दैट मैनेजर. सो इफ यू वांट टू डेलीगेट द टास्क, अब आप आपके लोअर लेवल मैनेजर्स को जब टास्क डेलीगेट करना चाहते हो, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू हैव क्लियर पॉलिसीज. तो पॉलिसी अगर क्लियरली डिफाइंड है, देन इट इज गोइंग टू गाइड योर मैनेजर्स टू टेक द डिसीजन. इससे आपको हेल्प होगी दैट यू एज अ सीनियर लेवल मैनेजर यू कैन डेलीगेट द वर्क. It is also going to bring uniformity and consistency. Now, what is uniformity and consistency? Let us say that there are some certain rules in every organization regarding taking leaves. Now, the leave could be for a casual reason. The leave taken by employee could be for some medical reason. The leave taken by the employee could be for some personal reason, or anything and everything that is going to affect the functioning of the company. Now, when it comes to uniformity, the policy should be same throughout the organization. Now, anybody taking a leave in one department, whatever policy is applied in that situation, the same policy will be applied to any other employee taking a leave in a similar situation. So, policy basically brings uniformity and consistency in any organization. Now, how do you describe a policy? In simple words, policy is objective based. So once you specify your objective, you can clearly write down the policy. I will again repeat, once you specify the objective, you can clearly write down the policy for the same. So policy basically contribute towards achieving your objectives. So it is going to support the target. It is going to help the manager to go closer to the target. A policy should be clear and written. Now, it is always advisable that the policy should be in the written format and it should not be just a verbal communication to the employees. It should be in writing. It should be sent to the concerned employees. या तो एम्प्लॉयज को आप ईमेल कर सकते हो या उनके अपॉइंटमेंट लेटर में कंपनी की पॉलिसीज को मेंशन कर सकते हैं, बट इट हैज टू बी क्लियरली रिटन and communicated to the concerned employees. The third characteristic is resource aware. Now, the policy is always designed considering the resources available with the company. So, let's say if company doesn't have enough of system to maintain the record about the customer complaints, if the system is not entirely developed, then the policy regarding customer complaints has to be redefined and reframed. So depending on the resources which are available with the company, the policy will be framed. Now the policy has to be regularly revised. Means you cannot have the same policy for throughout the lifetime. With the changing conditions, the company also has to revise the company policy. Point number 5 talks about flexible guidelines. So the policy acts as a general guidelines which helps in decision making at the lower level and also at the higher level in organization. So it is going to act as a guidelines to the manager and to his team members. The next characteristic is communicated. Now, a policy becomes meaningful only and only when it is communicated to the concerned employees. So if a policy is related to the contractual employees, जैसे कंपनी में दो तरीके के एम्प्लॉयज है, एक जो रेगुलर एम्प्लॉयज है और दूसरे जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बेसिस पर है. तो कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल एम्प्लॉयज से रिलेटेड जो भी पॉलिसीज है, a manager should communicate them at the time of appointment itself. मतलब अपॉइंटमेंट के वक्त ही कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल एम्प्लॉयज को उनके पॉलिसीज के बारे में नॉलेज होना चाहिए, उन्हें बताया जाना चाहिए. The next is 7th point is consistent. The policy should be consistent along with the organizational objectives. मतलब organization के जो objectives है उससे मैच होने वाला, उसको सपोर्ट करने वाले ही पॉलिसीज को फ्रेम करना है. लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, एथिकल. Now the policy should conform with the societal norms and it should be ethical. Any unethical practices, any unethical ideas should not be encouraged. So whenever a policy is framed, it should ensure that the policy fit within the ethical criteria of any organization. Next one is there are different types of policies. Let us see it one by one. Starting with the organizational policies. Now the policies which are framed by the organization, by the top management, and which is going to be applicable throughout the organization is called as a organizational policy. Let's say, for example, the code of conduct and ethics policy. So whatever is the code of conduct and ethics policy made by the top level management will be applicable throughout the organization. Second one is functional policy. Now any policy which is developed by the particular department is called as a functional policy. Now let's say, for example, a finance department is going to design a policy regarding to travel expenses and reimbursement policy. तो जब भी एम्प्लॉयज ट्रैवल करते हैं एंड जब भी उन्हें रीइम्बर्समेंट करना है, ट्रैवल किया है एम्प्लॉयज ने फॉर द ऑफिस रिलेटेड वर्क, तो उस एक्सपेंसेस को रीइम्बर्स करने के लिए जो पॉलिसी होगा दैट विल बी डिजाइन्ड बाय द फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट. एंड दिस इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ functional policy. Up next is organizational originated policies. Now, the policies which are deliberately formulated by the top management on their own initiative is called as a originated policy. मीन्स ऐसा कोई भी पॉलिसी जो टॉप मैनेजमेंट ने डेलिबरेटली फॉर्म किया है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ originated policy. For example, some companies may allow remote work and hybrid work mode, that is work from home, wherein some companies may not allow work from home, where the employees are required to come on a regular basis and fulfill their duties by coming to the office. So that could be an example of a originated policy. Fourth one is appealed policy. So कोई भी ऐसा पॉलिसी जो सबऑर्डिनेट्स के रिक्वेस्ट पे डिजाइन हुआ है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ फॉर्मुलेटेड पॉलिसी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इन टूडेज डेट जहां पे AI, that is artificial intelligence, is used by all of us, a company should allow. If the company doesn't allow and now the subordinates or the team members feel that they should be allowed to use AI so that their work becomes better, then such a appeal can be made by subordinates to their management, जहां पे वो request करते हैं management को कि उन्हें भी permission दी जाए AI tools को use करने के लिए. और किस हद तक वो AI tools को use कर सकते हैं, that can be decided by the top management. So such an appeal या इस तरीके का कोई request जब subordinates करते हैं, उसे हम बोलेंगे appealed policies. The next one is imposed policies. अब imposed policies कौन से हैं? ऐसे policies जो outside forces मतलब जो कंपनी के बाहर के जो फैक्टर्स है उसकी वजह से कंपनी में जिसे जो पॉलिसी को हमें इम्प्लीमेंट करना पड़ा, such policies will be called as imposed policy. Means what? Now in today's date, to prevent the sexual harassment at work, okay, to prevent any kind of a sexual harassment at work, Government of India has imposed POSH, that is Prevention of Sexual Harassment Policy. Now, because of this policy of government, now in every corporate sector and even other organization, they have to give POSH training to all their newly recruited employees. So such a policy which comes from outside the organization is called as a imposed policy. The next one is general policy. Now the policy that is stated in a broader terms by the organization is called as a general policy. So any policy which is very general, which is applicable throughout the organization to every department, is considered as a general policy. For example, हर एक कंपनी अपने एम्प्लॉयज के डेवलपमेंट के लिए सपोर्ट करता है. So a policy that is we support continuous professional development can be converted into a policy of that entire organization. The next one is specific policy. Now, specific policy are intensively defined to restrict freedom of certain actions. Now, for example, ऐसा कोई भी information which should not be shared to the outside party, or the information which is confidential. Now, in order to keep such information secure, the company may always have certain password, or the company can always have some policy that protects such data from being misused by the outside party. So policy which is designed to protect the confidential data can be considered as a specific policy. Last but not the least is the return policies. So any policy which is mentioned in writing which is given in writing and it is communicated to the employees or to the concerned people is called as a written policy. So anything which is documented, signed by the higher authority, and which is explicitly ex- given to the employees is called as a written policy. So that's it for the topic today. So today we have learned the topic policy. Let's quickly revise. Policy is a general guide to thinking and action. Policy should be flexible and broad. It should be goal oriented. Now, why policy is important? Because it helps in quick decision. It gives the limits within which the work should be performed. It helps in delegation and it brings uniformity and consistency. Now, there are different types of policies. It could be organizational policy, functional policy, originated policy, and appealed policy, imposed policy and general policy, specific policies, and written policies. In the next lecture, we will discuss the next type of a plan, that is procedure. Until then, wishing you all a happy learning. Thank you, everyone.